Thanksgiving at the White House has always been a spectacle, but during Donald Trump's presidency, especially in his second term, it becomes something entirely different. A high-pressure operation layered with tradition, politics, and more security protocols than most military missions. From the outside, everything looks simple. The president smiles, a turkey gets pardoned, cameras flash, reporters laugh. But behind those gates, behind those reinforced doors, something far more intense is happening. Before the kitchen fires up a single oven, before a potato is peeled or a pie crust rolled, the entire Thanksgiving operation depends on two oversized turkeys checking into a five-star hotel. These aren't normal birds. They've been trained for months. Lights, noise, cheering crowds, even music playlists to ensure they don't panic when they meet the president on live television. Handlers watch them in shifts. Their hotel rooms are lined with plastic sheeting and custom feeding stations. Every minute of their day is regulated. One wrong move from these birds, one panic flap in front of cameras, and Thanksgiving instantly becomes a national meme. Meanwhile, inside the White House, the situation looks nothing like a holiday. The basement kitchen resembles a command center. Chefs study spreadsheets that look more like military invasion plans, mapping out every minute from Monday to Thursday. They mark which oven each dish occupies, how long each item cooks, and the exact second everything must be finished. 3:12 p.m. on Thanksgiving Day. The intensity is overwhelming. For 96 hours, 30 kitchen staff move with the precision of surgeons. Groceries arrive under Secret Service protection. Every ingredient is scanned, swabbed, documented, and logged like evidence entering a crime lab. Even cranberry sauce goes through a multi-step security inspection, and for the first time since 1961, there's no executive chef to lead them. A leadership vacuum has turned this Thanksgiving into the most unpredictable one in decades. While the public watches a cheerful turkey pardon on the South Lawn, the real drama unfolds below the surface. The missing chef, the fragile schedule, the risk of security breaches, the possibility of a failed dish, and the ever-present fear that something, anything, could push the most scrutinized dinner in America into chaos. This is Thanksgiving at Donald Trump's White House, a holiday built on ceremony, kept alive by strategy, and held together by an overworked kitchen staff fighting against the clock. Before any chef sharpens a knife, before the White House ovens roar to life, two VIP guests make their grand entrance into Washington, D.C. Two turkeys, but not just any turkeys. These birds arrive like foreign dignitaries. They're driven into the city inside a climate-controlled motorcade, complete with a veterinarian, backup handlers, and a trailing vehicle in case of emergencies. Hotel staff step aside as the oversized birds check into the Willard Intercontinental, one of the most prestigious hotels in the capital. Their rooms are prepared days in advance. Plastic sheeting lines the floors, custom feeding trays sit neatly in place, and handlers rotate in shifts, ensuring no feather is out of place. The National Turkey Federation pays for everything. Why all this effort? Because by Thursday morning, these two birds will stand just feet away from the President of the United States, live on national television. And there's zero room for mistakes. These turkeys aren't bred for eating, they're bred for cameras. They weigh nearly 45 pounds, almost triple the size of a normal Thanksgiving. These birds don't just stroll into the spotlight, they train for it. For months before Thanksgiving, handlers prepare them the same way you'd prepare a performer for a stadium concert. Every possible trigger that could cause panic on live TV is tested in advance. Bright lights? They practice under strobe lamps. Crowds? Handlers play recordings of cheering audiences. Sudden noises? Speakers blast random claps, bangs, and camera shutters. Music? They've tested every genre. Classical seems to calm them. Country makes them agitated. Pop music? No one knows what it does. Mostly confuses them. All of this matters because the turkey pardon ceremony is a security event. A turkey having a meltdown on live television isn't funny. It's a classified situation requiring actual Secret Service intervention, and the Secret Service does not play around. On Monday morning, hours before the birds leave the hotel, a security agent performs a full inspection. The same agent who screens diplomatic gifts and foreign equipment now spends his morning scanning under turkey wings and checking their feet for anything sharp. Yes, Yes, the turkey goes through the same screening protocol as a visiting head of state, and the exam doesn't stop there. To avoid the single most catastrophic Thanksgiving incident imaginable, one that would instantly go viral and overshadow the entire presidency, the turkeys undergo a 12-hour fast before the ceremony. Not 11 hours, not 13 hours, exactly 12. Too early, and the bird might be exhausted on camera. Too late, and there could be an accident on the president's shoes. One wrong calculation, and the defining moment of Trump's Thanksgiving could become an internet meme for eternity. So, before the ceremony, the most heavily protected poultry in American history stand perfectly groomed, perfectly calm, and perfectly empty-stomached. And while the world watches these birds become celebrities, something far more intense is happening inside the White House kitchen. Something that has never happened in decades and will flip this year's Thanksgiving upside down. Beneath the polished floors, beneath the portraits of presidents and marble hallways tourists never see, there is a hidden world inside the White House, a world that starts working long before sunrise. It's Monday, 5:00 a.m., Thanksgiving week, and while the nation sleeps, the White House kitchen is already awake. Not quietly, not calmly, but with the controlled panic of an emergency room. This is the day the operation begins. But this year, something is wrong, something big. For the first time since 1961, the most important figure in the entire culinary chain is missing. No executive chef. Christetta Comerford, the woman who kept this place functional for nearly 3 decades, is gone, retired. Her absence doesn't feel like a staffing issue. It feels like a structural failure. Usually, she ran this kitchen like NASA runs a rocket launch. Precision timers, redline temperature limits, split-second coordination, a map inside her head of every oven's true temperature, and instincts for Thanksgiving timing sharper than a surgeon's scalpel. Now, her job is being fought over by 5 sous chefs, 5 highly trained professionals, 5 brilliant cooks, 5 egos, each one quietly convinced. While the kitchen battles its leadership vacuum below, upstairs something else is happening, something far quieter but far more intense. It's Tuesday morning. The turkey, the real turkey, has arrived. Not the celebrity bird destined for Trump's pardon ceremony, not the 45-pound media-ready creature staying at the Willard Hotel. This is the turkey that will actually sit on the president's plate. And unlike anything being roasted in American homes this week, this turkey has a classified file. Literally, every White House turkey comes with a full intelligence dossier. The Secret Service knows which farm raised it, what feed it consumed, its growth rate over the last 14 weeks, the workers who handled it, their social media posts, their political opinions, their criminal records, their financial histories, and whether any of them recently complained about the government on Facebook. One rant about taxes, one angry post about bureaucracy, one suspicious Venmo transaction. That turkey is rejected. The White House doesn't take chances, not with poultry, not with anything. The turkey arrives with more documentation than a nuclear warhead. A motorcade escorts it through D.C., a climate-controlled vehicle, a veterinarian on standby, a backup handler team, and a counter-surveillance unit, all for an 18-kilo bird. Thanksgiving might be on Thursday, but the war is always fought on Wednesday. This is the day when everything can go wrong, and in a White House without an executive chef, the odds of disaster climb by the hour. At 5:00 a.m., the countdown begins. The moment the first chef badges in, the atmosphere changes. The kitchen is quiet but tense. Not the tension of fear, the tension of extreme precision. There is a whiteboard filled with scribbles that look like a Wall Street futures chart. 13 hours until turkey completion, 8 hours until yam assembly, 5 hours until pie crust rolling, 4 hours until state china polishing, 2 hours until service route rehearsal. No one is speaking loudly. No one is rushing. Everyone is moving with the deliberate pace of a bomb squad. Because Wednesday is the day that mistakes compound. A misplaced whisk delays gravy. Delayed gravy delays plating. Delayed plating delays Secret Service corridor closures. Delayed corridor closures delay the president's schedule. And a delayed president is a political scandal waiting to explode. At exactly 3:00 p.m., Every member of the culinary team participates in the ritual known simply as the walkthrough. No food is cooked, no ovens are on. This is pure choreography. Every chef must walk their assigned route, carry an empty tray at the speed they will carry a full one, time their movements, identify bottlenecks, measure door clearance, memorize exactly how long the dumbwaiter takes. There is a laminated map taped to the wall showing the traffic flow, the passing zones, the emergency detours, the no-stop zones, the one-way hallways enforced during service. It looks like the blueprint of a military base. One wrong turn in this maze can delay dinner by up to 6 minutes. 6 minutes is catastrophic. 6 minutes means cold stuffing. 6 minutes means congealed gravy. 6 minutes means a cold turkey breast on national news. Normally, Executive Chef Comerford would run this rehearsal like a general addressing troops, but she's gone. So now, 5 sous chefs, 5 visions, 5 interpretations of timing, 5 clashing leadership styles. It begins politely. It never stays polite. By 4 o'clock p.m., 2 sous chefs are whisper arguing about oven rotation. Another is fighting over temperature sequences. A fourth is insisting the turkey should rest 29 minutes, not 30. The fifth is rewriting half the labels because the handwriting lacks clarity. Most kitchens fall apart because of heat. This one falls apart because of math. Some rules are obvious. No knives left unattended, no unauthorized personnel, no devices near food prep, no crossing protected corridors. Others are absurd. All hot food must cross the blue line within 90 seconds. All cold food must cross the red line within 60. No dish may exceed 3 decibels of noise during service. Desserts must remain within 2 degrees of their assigned temperature. No item may be plated without clearance from the service supervisor. And then there's the strangest rule. No running, ever. Not even if you're late. Running inside the White House triggers security protocols. So if you fall behind, you walk. Fast, but not fast enough. Wednesday night, the team meets again. Not to talk about food, not to talk about security, but to talk about the weather, because atmospheric conditions change cooking times. Dry air equals faster roasting. High humidity equals slower browning. Low pressure equals extended simmering. Cold temperature equals turkey. Cools faster on the walk upstairs. A drop in barometric pressure can shift the entire plan by 3 to 5 minutes. And 5 minutes is the difference between world-class perfection and a Thanksgiving crisis. It's 2 o'clock a.m. on Thanksgiving Day. Most of Washington, D.C. is asleep. The streets are empty. The city is quiet. But beneath the White House, deep inside the basement kitchen, a tiny red light blinks on an industrial oven. This is it. This is the moment the entire week has been building toward. The turkey is about to go in. A 45-pound bird and zero margin for error. This isn't a normal turkey. This isn't something you can just throw in an oven and hope for the best. This is a 45-pound government-cleared, Secret Service-approved, background-checked bird. It must roast for exactly 13 hours, not 12 hours and 55 minutes, not 13 hours and 10 minutes, 13 on the dot. Why? Because this turkey isn't just food, it's a schedule anchor. Every other dish, stuffing, mashed potatoes, sweet. By 5 o'clock a.m., the White House kitchen no longer looks like a kitchen. It looks like NASA mission control, if NASA replaced rockets with gravy boats. Every surface is labeled. Every oven is timed. Every pot has a purpose. And the staff, they've been awake so long that nobody remembers what morning actually feels like anymore. There are 29 kitchen staffers today. Pastry chefs, sous chefs, prep cooks, sauciers, dishwashers, food safety officers, and one poor intern who looks like he aged 5 years since Tuesday. All of them have just one mission. Make sure the President of the United States does not eat a cold meal. And yet the stakes are far higher than that, because a mistake today, a late dish, a temperature slip, a contamination error wouldn't just ruin a holiday. It would become international news. A kitchen divided into war zones. The White House kitchen splits into 3 separate operations. The main kitchen, hot zone. This is where the turkey, stuffing, and hot sides live. Here, the air is thick with steam and tension. Every burner is occupied. Every oven is full. Someone is yelling about yams. Someone Someone else is arguing about whether the gravy has the correct viscosity. There is a chart for this. Yes, an actual chart. The pastry kitchen. The cold, silent battlefield. Upstairs, the pastry team is locked into a sugar-fueled trance. They're finishing pumpkin pie, pecan pie, apple crostatas, and a gluten-free dessert nobody asked for, but someone will definitely need. Pies move in and out of refrigerators like they're part of a conveyor belt. Every crust, every swirl of whipped cream, every garnish is photographed and logged. Not for Instagram, but for official food safety records. The family kitchen, the chaos kitchen. This room is where impossible requests become reality. Here, chefs prepare vegan options, gluten-free options, low-sodium versions, kid-friendly versions, and one plate of chicken nuggets, all with ketchup, because every White House has at least one picky eater who refuses to eat actual food. This is the anything can happen kitchen, and it usually does. It's 2 o'clock a.m. on Thanksgiving Day. Most of Washington, D.C. is asleep. The streets are empty. The city is quiet. But beneath the White House, deep inside the basement kitchen, a tiny red light blinks on an industrial oven. This is it. This is the moment the entire week has been building toward. The turkey is about to go in. This isn't a normal turkey. This isn't something you can just throw in an oven and hope for the best. This is a 45-pound, government-cleared, Secret Service-approved, background-checked bird. It must roast for exactly 13 hours, not 12 hours and 55 minutes, not 13 hours and 10 minutes. 13. On the dot. Why? Because this turkey isn't just food. It's a schedule anchor. Every other dish, stuffing, mashed potatoes, sweet, 5 o'clock a.m. The White House kitchen no longer looks like a kitchen. It looks like NASA mission control if NASA replaced rockets with gravy boats. The pastry kitchen. The cold, silent battlefield. Upstairs, the pastry team is locked into a sugar-fueled trance. They're finishing pumpkin pie, pecan pie, apple crostatas, and a gluten-free dessert nobody asked for. But someone will definitely need. Pies move in and out of refrigerators like they're part of a conveyor belt. Every crust, every swirl of whipped cream, every garnish is photographed and logged. Not for Instagram, but for official food safety records. 3. The family kitchen. The chaos kitchen. This room is where impossible requests become reality. Here, chefs prepare vegan options, gluten-free options, low-sodium versions, kid-friendly versions, and one plate of chicken nuggets with ketchup, because every White House has at least one picky eater who refuses to eat actual food. This is the anything can happen kitchen, and it usually does. Every dish, every single one, is checked with an infrared thermometer every 15 minutes. Mashed potatoes must stay at exactly 140 degrees Fahrenheit, not 139 degrees, not 141 degrees. At 139 degrees, they're unsafe. At 141 degrees, they develop a layer on top. Turkey must hit 105 degrees internal temperature. Anything less equals unsafe. Anything more, you dry. The chefs aren't cooking today. They're conducting a biochemical experiment. Most kitchens can dump trash outside in seconds. But here, taking out the garbage requires leaving through Secret Service, going through a security checkpoint, getting scanned, re-entering through security, walking back downstairs. A 5-minute task becomes a 25-minute tactical operation. The trash piles up like a battlefield. Dishwashers are drowning in plates. Someone actually says, "We're going to need reinforcements." It's not a joke. The turkey is only halfway done. The pies are cooling. The green beans are prepped. The sweet potatoes are waiting for their exact oven slot. And everyone in the room knows one truth. If anything goes wrong now, there is no plan B. Because you can't call Whole Foods. You can't order DoorDash. You can't run to the store. This is the most heavily secured cooking operation on Earth, and every minute brings it closer to the one moment that cannot fail. Serving the president's Thanksgiving meal at exactly 3 o'clock p.m. By early afternoon, the kitchen isn't the only place under pressure. Upstairs, the White House social office is finalizing something far more unpredictable than the turkey: the guest list. Because Thanksgiving at the White House isn't just about food, it's about politics, race, tradition, family dynamics, and image, and every single person who steps through those doors, even a distant cousin, becomes a national security responsibility. Officially, it's a private family meal. Unofficially, it's a carefully engineered gathering designed to avoid political scandals, media backlash, or awkward dinner table headlines. Here's who normally attends: immediate family, extended family, the ones who always RSVP at the last minute, close friends, political allies, billionaire donors, one or two surprise guests. Someone insists on inviting a foreign leader's relative or diplomat who just happened to be in town, staff members who have nowhere else to go. This means the dining room is a strange mix of power, family chaos, and political theater. Trump's guest lists are never quiet. There's always a question. Will he invite politicians or will he invite celebrities? Sometimes both. One Thanksgiving famously saw senators, billionaire friends, athletes, reality, TV personalities, influencers, foreign dignitaries, surprise guests. The staff found out about only when security notified them an hour before dinner. Before anyone even steps foot inside the White House on Thanksgiving, something huge happens behind the scenes. Every single guest, family, friends, donors, celebrities, and even someone's new girlfriend gets treated like a national security event. It doesn't matter if the person is 90 years old or a toddler holding a teddy bear. If they're entering the White House on Thanksgiving, their name goes into the system 3 days before dinner, sometimes even earlier. The Secret Service builds a classified dossier for every guest: financial history, social media posts, travel records, legal issues, known associates, security flags, past international visits, any controversial activities, any threats, even accidental jokes posted years ago. A Thanksgiving guest has a more thorough background check than most job applicants in America. Even someone's +1 must pass the same process, because the White House is still the White House, even on a holiday. Most families just tell guests, dinner's at 3, ring the doorbell when you arrive. At the White House, arrivals look more like a military checkpoint. Guests must arrive at a precise time window. Go through a magnet. Perfect. Here is the next expanded section, continuing the dramatic Thanksgiving at the White House storyline. This one is all about the arrival, screening, and movement of guests inside the White House on Thanksgiving Day. Thanksgiving Day, 3:00 p.m. is the target, but the operation begins hours earlier, the moment the first guest arrives at the Northwest Appointment Gate. Because unlike your house, where guests walk right in, no one just walks into the White House. Guests are greeted not by warmth and pumpkin spice, but by a Secret Service agent in a bulletproof vest holding a clipboard. Every guest must confirm identity, present ID, pass through magnetometers, submit phones for scanning, have bags x-rayed, undergo a physical pat-down if something doesn't match. And this isn't a polite holiday version, it's the full protocol, exactly the same used for diplomats, billionaires, generals, and royalty. Even the president's personal friends get screened. The only person who bypasses this, the president, and only the president. Not even the first lady gets a free pass. Once cleared, guests enter a tiny... For most families, Thanksgiving begins when the doorbell rings. At the White House, it begins when a guest steps into a layered federal security perimeter designed for world leaders, not for Aunt Carol and the guy she's dating this month. The moment guests approach the White House gates, snipers on the roof take positions. Tactical officers inside black Suburbans activate comms. Secret Service agents adjust earpieces. K-9 units begin sniffing vehicles, all for Thanksgiving dinner. And even though the guests have been background checked to oblivion, they still must pass through the same multi-stage screening as visiting dignitaries. Stage 1, identity verification, phones out, IDs up. Agents check full name, date of birth, security clearance pass, facial match to pre-cleared photos. A single letter missing from the paperwork, you're not getting in, even if you're the president's cousin. Stage 2, the magnetometer line. Guests walk through metal detectors normally used for world leaders at global summits. Belts off, watches off, shoes scanned, purses searched, coats x-rayed. 1. Thanksgiving, a senator's wife triggered the alarm because she carried a silver serving fork she brought just in case they needed one. It caused a 10-minute delay, an eternity in White House scheduling. Stage 3, the K9 sweep. A trained Belgian Malinois walks around every guest. It isn't sniffing for drugs. It's sniffing for explosives, certain chemical compounds, biological threats, anything out of the ordinary. If the dog sits down, everyone freezes. This has happened before, not because someone brought a weapon, but because a guest kept homemade fireworks in their coat pocket earlier that week. The smell lingered. Secret Service did not appreciate. Stage 4, the Christmas lights protocol. This is the part no one outside the White House ever hears about. Agents visually inspect every gift bag, every dish someone tried to bring, every baby stroller, every medical device. Anything electronic must be turned on to prove it isn't hiding extra components. A harmless LED decoration once caused an entire backup screening line because it looked suspicious on the X-ray. Stage 5, clearance to enter the residence. Once cleared, guests walk into the White House foyer, where another team takes over. A protocol officer guides guests through the designated path toward the red room, the blue room, or directly to cocktails. No wandering allowed, no improvising, no, can I see the Lincoln bedroom real quick? Every step inside the building is tracked. While they do protect against threats, the biggest fear on Thanksgiving is something else. A guest wandering off. Why? Because the White House is full of restricted areas. The Situation Room, the Oval Office, classified hallways, sensitive security zones. Even a lost child can trigger a security alert. One Thanksgiving years ago, a senator's grandson opened the wrong door, and 5 agents materialized instantly. The guests are seated. The table is glowing. The cameras are gone. The ceremony is over. Now comes the most terrifying moment of Thanksgiving inside the White House, serving the President of the United States. For most families, this part is simple. You scoop some turkey, pass the gravy, and hope your uncle behaves. At the White House, every bite is a national pressure point. Before Trump even touches his fork, a team of 6 people has already studied his plate like it holds classified intel, because it basically does. The presidential plate undergoes temperature checks, moisture analysis, final visual inspection, security clearance, contamination tests, allergen sweep, knife and fork, placement, precision. Even the parsley garnish is chosen carefully. White House tradition says it should lean slightly right, never left. And then the plate is handed to the butler. The butler must carry it with both hands, same posture used when holding the nuclear football. This isn't symbolism, it's protocol. Once the president starts eating, one person is assigned to watch only him. This staffer is known internally as the food shadow. They stand around 12 feet away and watch how fast the president eats, whether he grimaces, whether he slows down, whether he pushes something aside, whether he reaches for salt. This is a crisis. Whether he glances at a staffer, another crisis. If Trump raises an eyebrow, the food shadow taps their earpiece. If he clears his throat twice, they whisper into the comms. If he stops eating entirely, someone downstairs begins warming a backup plate. But here's the thing nobody tells you. The president almost never finishes his plate, not because he's rude, but because every dish is plated, assuming he might stop suddenly to take a call, meet a guest, handle a national security issue, walk away mid-meal. Trump does this often. Request Diet Coke. So the kitchen must be ready to replace anything. At any moment, if Trump doesn't like something, he will never say it quietly. He will tell the nearest human being, and that triggers the dish swap protocol. The butler signals with a discreet hand gesture. 1 finger up equals mild dissatisfaction. 2 fingers, I suppose urgent replacement needed. 3 fingers, insidious, he hates it. Deploy emergency option. In that moment, downstairs erupts. Chefs sprint. Pots move. Someone yells, "Back up turkey! Back up turkey now!" The new plate must arrive in in under 45 seconds. If it takes longer, you failed. White House holiday staff say those 45 seconds feel like a hostage situation. This unit reacts only to disasters. They specialize in replating, rapid reheating sauce repair, visual touch-ups, knife and fork, realignment, pie reconstruction. Yes, pie reconstruction is real. One Thanksgiving, a pumpkin pie cracked during transport. The team used a warm spatula, a blowtorch, and a hairdryer to reseal it within 90 seconds. Nobody upstairs knew. It depends how he complains. If he jokes about it, the kitchen breathes again. They treat it as a minor alert. If he pushes the plate aside, emergency fix team activates. A new plate goes up. If he calls a staffer over, that means something serious is wrong. This triggers the highest level, culinary incident protocol. Level 1. Someone from Secret Service is now watching the food itself. They check for undercooking, over-seasoning, temperature drops, cross-contamination, anything that feels off. Because if the president says something tastes strange, it could mean sabotage, even if it's just bland potatoes. And that is Thanksgiving inside Donald Trump's White House. A holiday that looks simple on TV, a polished photo op, a smiling crowd, a perfectly carved turkey. But behind the scenes, it's a military-grade operation mixed with presidential tradition, personal quirks, and a level of choreography tighter than a space launch. For 96 hours, chefs become engineers, butlers become strategists, the Secret Service becomes food inspectors, and 2 overfed turkeys become VIP celebrities. Also, the President of the United States can sit down at a table surrounded by guests and enjoy a meal that appears effortless, even though it required hundreds of people working behind the scenes. Thanksgiving at the White House isn't just a dinner. It's a performance, a tradition, a symbol, a massive operation wrapped in a single moment of calm. And whether it's the drama in the kitchen, the chaos of the schedule, or the Trump-sized traditions shaping every detail, this is one of the most complex meals ever served on American soil. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the hidden world of presidential Thanksgiving, make sure to subscribe to Luxrish for more cinematic breakdowns of power, luxury, and the stories the world never gets to see.